So I got something in my notes, but I'm going to disregard my notes, big dog.
Oh.
I don't need them.
Oh, you don't want
need them. I can still read also with that paper torn. So don't let me
Just
fill you
in
with the drama.
case.
James Harden didn't let the Sixers down because James Harden was never holding the Sixers up.
Oh.
Now, James Harden has been atrocious, but we have to remember, you can't let somebody down if you was never holding them up in the first place. Embiid was holding them up, not James Harden. So how could you argue that he let them down? Here's what it is, y'all, and here's what we all have to accept. James Harden is done. Finito. He's gassed. He's expired. It's a wrap. And for good reason. So the last 10 seasons, you want to talk about who's played the most minutes in ball?
Okay.
LeBron James, who we also saw running out of gas this year, and James Harden second. Y'all think it doesn't have an effect, but you just got to look at the numbers. Look at James Harden in Houston, the shots he was putting up per game. Look at James Harden in Houston, the points he was scoring per game. Then you go to Brooklyn, less shots, obviously less points. And now you look in Philly, significantly less points and significantly fewer shots. James Harden is done. And we got to stop expecting him to rise from the grave like Lazarus. It ain't going to happen. It's a wrap because he's wrapped. He's tied, boss.
He wrapped.
So I can't argue that James Harden let the Sixers down because James Harden was never actually the pillar that was holding the Sixers up. James Harden was supposed to come in at best be a number 2. Problem, he's coming, he's been a number 3. Some would argue a number 4. But truth be told, the expectations for James Harden were too high. If you had read the fine print, and anytime you acquire a new product, what you should do, but you don't do, is read the fine print. If you would have read the fine print on James Harden, you would have seen expires soon. That's what you would have noticed. So every time I got meal delivery, big dog.
What you mean?
I don't have
you got DoorDash like everybody else?
No, not DoorDash. I got meal delivery. My chef makes some meals.
Uber Eats?
No, chef make me some meals. They drop off on Mondays, drop off on Wednesdays, drop them off on Thursdays. You feel me? I ain't got kids to make food for, so I don't need leftovers.
Your food getting old on the weekend, though.
That part.
All right.
My food gets old, but here's the thing about my meals. Before I get them, because like Marcellus said, my food gets old, particularly on the weekends,
Sunday.
I check that little expiration date because I always got to make sure I'm not about to eat an expired meal.
Okay.
What the Sixers did not do and have not realized is that James Harden is, he an expired meal. James Harden was expiring. He was expiring in Brooklyn. We just didn't notice because he was still scoring 23 points a game. And there was so much other chaos going on in Brooklyn that you couldn't actually fixate and you couldn't see the main thing as the main thing. So, did Harden let the Sixers down? Nah. Did he play terribly? Absolutely. Has he been playing terribly? Beyond a shadow of a doubt. But did he let him down? No, he didn't let him down. Because he was never holding them up.
Ooh, that was poetic. I have to disagree, though. He let them down. But we're going to get to the same place just a different way. He let them down in terms of expectations. But I agree with you. We are now seeing the ashes, the cremation of James Harden just floating through the air, not being who he is in terms of greatness. That is behind him. And I want to certify and to say, I think it's officially behind him. I said this about 2 months ago about James Harden. I said, I think he's a baller, but not a professional basketball player anymore. And there's a big difference. When you're a baller in the offseason, you know what you do? You get run. Just show up at UCLA, just show up with the ball in your hand, you loose Adidas sweatsuit on, rip it off, and just ball, ball, ball. But then the professional basketball players also know it's about going home and having that meal, proper meal, chef, delivery. They also know it's about proper rest. They also know it's about the therapy. They just know that there's more to it because you're older doing it. It's just like your car. The longer you keep your car, the more maintenance you got to do with the same car. This vehicle has been taxed. You showed the numbers right there. But look at the difference between James Harden and LeBron James. Even just in muscle tone, just even in just physical fitness, you can see a difference. And then third on your list was who? DeMar DeRozan from Compton, who I know, who works his ass off. Look at the difference and look at the production level. These are all guys playing around the same amount of minutes for a decade, but vastly different outcomes. DeMar DeRozan out there balling this year, he was. LeBron James, damn near in the MVP conversation this year. James Harden, whole different category. So I say why he let them down is this. Imagine in case of emergency in your home. I've been to your home. I hope you have a fire extinguisher somewhere because the damn thing is 15 levels. So in case of emergency, you break glass, right? Now imagine you break glass, you pull out the fire extinguisher, and nothing comes out. That's James Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers right now. Embiid, okay, we got some problem. All right, somebody put this fire out. We're missing Embiid for games 1 and 2 for sure. Oh, James Harden, you can't put this fire out. I know, Acho, you're not in the same relationship status as I, but I have a wife who's very intelligent, has her master's degree, and doesn't work. She takes care of the most important things in our life, our kids. Mm-hmm. But imagine if I lose my job and I go home. And I'm like, baby, I'm in B right now. I got a fracture, baby. I need you right now. Go back to work. And she's like, nah, I'm not going to go back to work. I'm not going to put in that work right now. That's not what I'm here for. James Harden just did that for the Philadelphia 76ers. And you want to tell me that he didn't let them down? You are supposed to be the life raft in this moment. And now you got us out here drowning.
But I like, ooh, that's good. My dog brought some heat.
I'm sorry.
Brought some heat. James Harden done got them out there drowning, Sale, yes, because you have to understand what role people play. We've all been in this situation. I know y'all been in this situation where you have no expectations, so you couldn't let me down. You know, finally, after somebody does you wrong, they show up and they apologize. Hey, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, man. I know I let you down. And you just look at him and you chuckle. Just a half-hearted chuckle, like, I didn't plan on you being there anyway. At the point in which you saw James Harden be absent for 5 out of 6 of your first-round games versus the Raptors, 5 out of 6, that's 83.3% repeating. At the point in which you saw him be absent for 5 out of 6 of the games, why in the world did you think he was going to be present for this one? What led you to believe that James Harden was going to be present in this game when you saw him be absent for so many of the other games? To me, still, that is wishful thinking. That is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. To me, that's asinine. It makes no sense. So to have been let down by James Harden would have been foolish. It would have been to be idiotic. And I'm a real fan, not so much a fan of the Sixers, but I'm a realist about these Sixers. We knew at some point in time, for whatever reason, unfortunately, Embiid was likely going to miss time because Embiid has played the most impactful season of his career. But we also know, for whatever reason, you know, some guys just get hurt. Unfortunate circumstances, kind of like Carson Wentz. Takes a knee by Jadeveon Clowney. He in the playoffs. The one time Carson was going to play in the playoffs, now Carson Wentz just gets hurt. Some guys just get hurt. It's not even their fault. It just happens. So we knew at some point in time Embiid was likely going to miss a game or two. Hopefully he recovers quickly and swiftly from that concussion. However, James Harden been tapped. He been tapped, Sal. He was tapped last year in the playoffs with the Nets. He was tapped again this year during the course of the regular season. He been tapped. So to say that he let you down is to have an unrealistic expectation for him. And why would you do that? Sal, if you were to leave your crib tonight, you and Anne-Marie go on a date.
We are going somewhere, too. I ain't going to tell y'all until, you know, I'm a latogram. And no ticket. It's not no invite. If it was free, you'd be going, bro. I ain't
so if you was to leave and leave the sink full of dishes.
That's normal.
Normal. And you come back and you get mad at MJ, your 6-year-old son, like, MJ.
That ain't normal.
Why ain't you do these dishes? You know I left these dishes in the sink for you to do.
You know he's 6, right?
Exactly.
I hope he don't damn dry them dishes.
Exactly.
James Harden ain't 6.
But the point is, you have an expectation based upon what you know MJ can and cannot accomplish. You got to have an expectation of James Harden based on what you know he can and cannot accomplish. And at this stage of his career, he cannot accomplish putting a team on his back. He will crumble under the squat rack.
Well, hold on now. First of all, you got him at 6 years old, figuratively speaking. When James Harden, when he first 5 games, when he got to Philadelphia, everybody was like, oh, my God, he hit the ground running, averaged 25 points a game. That's a full-grown man, adult. Then he took a step back to 19 and a half, basically 20 points a game for the remaining games they had of the season, 23 of them. Still a teenager, if not ready to drink. I don't know. He ain't no 6-year-old trying to do dishes. Let's tell you that. Let's get our expectations in order, okay? We're talking about a former MVP. We're talking about James Harden. And when you talk about James Harden, there is a level of expectation of greatness because James Harden, at one time, James Harden recently scored over 30 points for 32 straight games. Like, James Harden is silly with it. That's the point. So when you talk about somebody great and then you're like, they're in limbo, you still have an expectation because, one, when you're great and you're not playing well, they always say, oh, he's in a slump. He'll shoot his way out the slump. He'll figure his way out the slump. Then he goes to a new team, and you're like, Well, it's because he's trying to get acclimated. Now he's in a beta role. He's not the star of the team. He's Joel Embiid's assistant. So in that role, okay, we can see where James Harden is not necessarily being James Harden. But when Joel Embiid is injured and the path is clear for you to be James Harden, hell yeah, the expectations are you come home to some clean dishes. You come home to James Harden out there cooking. The problem is you're not getting that out of James Harden. Let me go on record with conjecture and tell you why I think it's not going to happen. Even though I'm saying he's letting them down, I'm trying to tell him that it's going to be a day where you're resetting your expectations, but not just yet. You know about Dante's Inferno and different levels of heat, as let's call it heat. I learned this from a lot of athletes, including myself, that there's Dante's Inferno in all of us in terms of our level of competition, our level of competitiveness. What level of heat do you want to turn this thing up to get there? I would say the highest level being Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, like guys who just live or die, they got to go out there and burn it up. And then there's other guys who are just satisfied, content with whatever they were. I was not a Kobe Bryant mentality. I was a mindful player. I was a guy who had options, who knew it. I wasn't going to run through everything, all the fires, for certain reasons. And I'm looking at James Harden, and I just think this is a guy who's content right now. I think he's like, my legacy is in store. My legacy is intact. People going to think of what they think of me. I have put in enough work to be this level, and now I'm just a baller. And if he were to ever try to reset that, maybe it's a little too late. But in terms of the expectation, they're still high enough where he's let them down.
So what Kanye say? How I ain't bring nothing to the table.
When I'm the table. That's my favorite line. Don't do that. Don't do that.
How I ain't bring nothing to the table when I'm the table. How is James Harden in a slump when he the slump? He is the slump.
He ain't the
James
slump.
Harden ain't in a slump, big dog. He quite literally is the slump. James Harden played 44 games with the Nets on this season, big dog. He had 12 games with 20-plus field goal attempts. He got 28 games with the Sixers, big dog. He has no games with 20-plus field goal attempts.
Different role.
James Harden ain't in a slump. James Harden is the slump. James Harden ain't even trying to go out there and get buckets. Stack Jack, Steven Jackson, 16 years in the NBA, NBA champion, came on this show and said,
That's real.
You know how hard it is to put up 25 shots? Like guys that are getting 30, 40, 50 points a game, it is exhausting to put up 25 shots. Take it from a 16-year NBA veteran, NBA champion, telling us it's exhausting to put up them shots. James Harden is the slump because James Harden is exhausted, big dog. He tired. Like, it's not even that he doesn't desire to score the points. He just ain't got the energy to score the points. Marcellus Wiley, the dude shot 4 field goals in the last 20 minutes of the game. 3 field goals, 4 points. 3 field goals in the last 20 minutes of the game. You got 20 minutes and you only attempt 3 shots? Like, it's not a matter of skill. It's a matter of will, or it's a matter of energy level. And with James Harden at this junction in time, Sal, we have to stop expecting so much from him because he ain't got it. He ain't let him down. He just ain't got it. Accept him for who he is, please.
No, you know, in sports, people are reluctant to accept you as you are. We just went through the NFL draft. They're not looking at those players who they are. They're looking at those players as who they can be.
Yes, sir.
That's how you get drafted.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you're great and you made it, trust me, a guy who was at the top of the mountain who came down, Dallas bet on me still being at the top of the mountain. And then Jacksonville still bet on me after Dallas lost their bet on me still being at the top of the mountain. That's how the game goes. You know why? And I'm going to tell you, I see it with James Harden. Preparation is the separation.
Talk about it, Seth.
And you say he doesn't look like he has desire. Desire is not fully shown in performance. Desire is not fully shown when you're out there in those 48 minutes. It's shown when no one's looking. It's shown in the offseason. You get your main tank from how you prepared. And now you can't go out there and just say, hey, give me the rock, I'm a baller, I'm going to make this happen. I think James Harden is giving full effort. I think they fully believe. I think that full effort with a limited capacity.
Yes, sir.
But I also think that they are thinking fully in expectation of James Harden carrying the load. Why would you trade for James Harden? You trade for James Harden because there's someone who's getting paid 6 figures, if not 7 figures, to look at every NBA player and say who's got it and who doesn't. And they're placing bets on guys. And they placed a bet on James Harden. And now it looks like it's a losing bet. But to say that they didn't bet high, didn't bet an expectation, is where we differ. We both agree James Harden spent, James Harden taxed, James Harden done. But in terms of what the Sixers are thinking, they're thinking much higher than you're thinking.
That's fair, but here's what I have to remind the Sixers of. James Harden's talent level is kind of like cartilage. It cannot regenerate.
Yeah.
What you know about, you get a lot of surgeries in the NFL. I've had several. Marcellus had several. You have a lot of surgeries and injuries as a pro athlete. But there is nothing worse than that microfracture knee surgery.
Yeah, I remember that.
That microfracture knee surgery, that'll put you out. Because once you have that microfracture knee surgery, your doctor going to come up to you and be like, look, if you bone on bone right there under that kneecap, can't really do much for you because that cartilage that's supposed to supply the cushion from them bones just rubbing together to where you aching with every step, I can't make it regenerate. James Harden's talent level at this junction in time, it cannot and it will not regenerate. So the Sixers just have to understand exactly who he is. Now, Sel, you said something earlier in the show, and I got to call you out.
Oh, let's go.
Early in the show, Marcellus Wiley.
After you give Melvin Gordon some prayer. I remember there was one athlete, I was like, he can't.
You came back from microfracture?
Yeah, Melvin Gordon.
Okay, I'm giving that.
No, I hear you.
But anyway, I got to call you out for a second. You said you came to my house, big dog. You said I ain't had no fire extinguisher. Now, I don't know.
No, I'm asking, do you? I hope you do.
I would hope that you know based on how you was in every room, nook, and crevice, and cranny of my house. Marcellus coming to my house, and he in my master bedroom. I hadn't even been in my master bedroom yet. He in my master bedroom, hydrating, just talking to everybody from my crib, in my bedroom, on my patio, on my balcony, in my house. And you don't know if there are fire extinguishers. You tell me.
Your Honor, may I talk for myself? May I represent myself in court? I didn't ask you, did you have a safe? Because I know where your safe at. I'm up in there right by the safe. Boy, I was in there looking at Emmys and everything. I was like, this is another book. He got another book coming out. Beautiful master bedroom. I'm glad I alerted you that you had a master bedroom since you ain't been up in there before. Man, take me off of there before you see who's behind me. All right.